Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Pokemon TCG video. What we'll be taking a look at today is a black and white Salamence promotion card. I actually think this is actually a pretty cool Pokemon. I had initially thought that it wasn't that great because it's pretty energetically expensive. I mean, Dragon Pulse does require a total of 4 energy cards, and it hits for 130 damage, and at the same time it forces us to discard the top card of our deck. So it doesn't seem like all that impressive of an attack, and I mean, for the most part it really isn't, because we can't knock out EX Pokemon in a single attack. But where the Salamence really makes up for it is the fact that it has the Delta Evolution ability, allowing us to evolve the Shelgon into the Salamence right away. So as soon as we lay down the Shelgon, we can immediately bring out the Salamence right on top of it, and that really saves us a lot of trouble. I mean, we don't need to run any rare candies at all in this deck, just because, I mean, our Shelgon is pretty much like a rare candy. It's the secondary stage with which we can bring out the Bagon and then the Shelgon and then the Salamence right away. So it's actually a pretty good Pokemon, and I also really have grown to like its Call for Goons attack. It allows us to search our deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon and then put them into our bench. So sometimes when I don't even have enough energy cards to be able to make use of the Dragon Pulse attack, I still go out of my way to bring out the Salamence as my active Pokemon, because I can then go right ahead, make use of the Call for Goons, and then set up more of our Bagons onto our bench, potentially the Hydreigon EX as well, in case I do want the free retreats, and our alternative attacker, which happens to be the Miltank from the XY Flash Fire set. So Miltank is able to hit for 80 damage on a single energy if we have any of our Salamences on our bench. With a Muscle Band, that is 100 damage. So Miltank is a really nice attacker, especially since it does take us a couple of turns to ultimately get that Salamence loaded up and ready to go. Now, just in case we don't have any Miltanks, or we prefer to attack with the Salamence instead, we have the Reshiram, which is going to come through for us because it has the Turbo Blaze ability, allowing us to attach a Fire Energy card from our hand onto one of our Dragon-type Pokemon, but provided, of course, that Reshiram is our active Pokemon. So we can also use it as an attacker, but instead I prefer to attack with the Miltank, which is a very energetically efficient attacker, or the Salamence, because the Brightwing attack, although it does hit for 110 damage, which isn't bad by any means, it does force us to discard a Fire Energy card attached to this Pokemon, which of course isn't all that great. I mean, we're not running too many energy cards, so Reshiram is ideally simply going to be used for the Turbo Blaze attack, and then we're simply going to go right ahead, switch it out, and bring out the Salamence or the Miltank as an attacker. And then of course we have a single copy of the Hydreigon EX. It has the Dragon Road ability, which provides each of our Dragon-type Pokemon with 2 energy cards less for them to be able to retreat if there happens to be any Stadium card in play. Now, most of our Dragon-type Pokemon, with the exception of Hydreigon EX, have exactly 2 energy cards that are required for them to be able to retreat, so Hydreigon EX works out really nicely in this deck. You know, just being able to switch in between our Pokemon is just a fantastic thing to have, so we are running a single copy of the Hydreigon EX in our deck. Now you guys are thinking, well, if the Hydreigon EX is there, why exactly are we running an Escape Rope and the Switch card? Well, for that reason is because we do have the Reshiram, and sometimes what we would like to do is we'd like to go out of our way to use a Switch card to bring out the Reshiram, make use of that Turbo Blaze ability, and then we can go right ahead and retreat it due to the Hydreigon EX's special ability. And then of course there are those instances where the Hydreigon EX is unfortunately prized or gets knocked out early, and it's just nice to have a Switch card and an Escape Rope at hand in those types of situations. Also keep in mind, we're only running a total of 2 Stadium cards, which happen to be the Training Center. A very powerful Stadium card, allows that Salamence to get a very bulky 30 HP addition, and pretty much allows it to be on the same level as those of EX Pokemon. So that Salamence could have 180 HP if we have the Training Center at play. But keep in mind that whenever the Salamence does get knocked out, we only give our opponents a single prize card, so that is pretty fantastic. So we are running a total of 2 copies of the Training Center in our deck. We have a single copy of the Sacred Ash as well. We have quite a few Pokemon. Chances are that they're probably gonna get sent to the discard pile, either through us using the Sycamore, potentially the Ultra Ball. Of course, sometimes they'll get knocked out as well. Sacred Ash can allow us to recycle any particularly useful Pokemon, especially those Hydreigon EXs, and of course our entire Salamence line as well. So Sacred Ash is pretty nice to include. We are running a single copy of that. 4 Ultra Balls, just to allow us to grab all of the Pokemon that we need. We have 3 VS Seekers, making which we can of course use to reuse any of our supporter cards. a single teammates card, not a card that I include in a whole lot of decks, but it actually works really well in this deck, of course, because whenever one of our Pokemon do get knocked out, for the most part we're only giving up a single prize card, and we can go right ahead and look for whatever card to allow us to keep going with our strategy. So for example, if that Salamence was one energy card short from being able to attack, then we could go right ahead and look for an energy card. If we need to bring out a Salamence, because we'd like to attack with the Miltank, then we can go right ahead and look for a Shelgon and a Salamence. So teammates is just a really flexible card to include, so we are running a single copy of that. We are running 4 Sycamores, 4 Birches, and 1 Ace Trainer for some draw support, 2 Lysanders to lure out any of the opponent's bench Pokemon, a total of 3 Muscle Bands, of course, to increase the total damage output of our own respective Pokemon, 4 Double Colors Energies, 6 Fire Energies, and 4 Double Dragon Energies, which are going to be our energy cards for this battle. So let us go and find ourselves an opponent, and believe me, this deck actually works pretty well. I know it is unfortunate that the Salamence is lacking with respects to firepower from being able to get those big one-hit knockouts, but given the fact that it's pretty bulky, it can often take down an EX Pokemon whenever an EX Pokemon does ultimately take down our own Salamence. So let's see what type of deck our opponent's going to be running. I mean, he does have the Mega Rayquaza sleeve, and we did see regular type Pokemon, but we also saw some Darkness Pokemon, so I'm not really sure what to expect right now, guys. So it looks like we're going to start off with the Reshiram with the Turbo Blaze ability. And not a particularly good hand, so I'm definitely going to have to make use of the Professor Birch's observation. Alternatively, I could start loading up that Reshiram. It could actually hit for 130 damage and potentially knock out that Yveltal during our next turn. So you know what, I think that's actually what I'm going to go and do. So let's go and bring out the Training Center as well. I'm going to go and use that Turbo Blaze ability to attach a Fire Energy card onto it, the Double Colors Energy. Let's actually go and bring out the opponent's benched Tyranitar EX and then use that Sycamore for a brand new hand. Alright, so we have one more Hydreigon EX. We'll absolutely be laying that down, another Reshiram as well. And unfortunately, that's going to have to be it for this turn. I mean, I could have, of course, retreated the Reshiram had I really wanted to, but I think it should be pretty safe from harm's way for the most part. Our opponent is running a Tyranitar EX deck. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing at least a couple of bad energies in there, which is actually pretty fantastic because we're not running any EX Pokemon whatsoever, so that is going to help us out a great deal. We're going to see our opponent make use of that Battle Compressor, get 2 Darkness Energy cards, and a Lysander that is Scarpel. That end is actually really going to help us out. We need a Double Dragon Energy, though, in case we would like to attack with that Reshiram. So, things are moving along slowly, so I could make use of the Turbo Blaze, but I think I'm gonna hold off on that for now, guys. You know what, actually, let's go and make use of that Turbo Blaze. So I'm gonna go and actually attach that Fire Energy card onto that Hydreigon EX. We may actually see it in action. All I would need is a Double Dragon Energy, and then it should be able to attack. I think I'm gonna go for the Professor Birch's observation this time, guys. I feel like we have too many useful cards to really be able to simply use a Sycamore. So let's hope for a Double Dragon Energy. And are we gonna get it? No! No energy cards, man, that is unfortunate. At this point, if our opponent does get a Double Colors Energy, he should be able to start attacking. So I'm temporarily going to retreat this Reshiram and then bring out this Reshiram instead. And that is unfortunately going to have to be it for this turn. Man, I really don't want to use that Sycamore. I mean, we have 2 Shelgons and 2 Salamances in our hand. I hope our opponent makes use of the, what's it called, the N or something like that. I would actually really be thankful for something like that. Looks like our Hydreigon EX is actually going to get targeted with the Golbat. We are going to see that via Secret at N. Yes, come on, please help us out. Let us get something more useful. Okay, we have a Salamence in our hand, but I think we can relatively safely discard that. It shouldn't be too problematic for us. And I mean, our opponent still is lacking a lot of energy cards. As long as we don't see that Mega Tyranitar EX make an appearance just yet, I feel like we should be relatively safe. Our opponent actually doesn't even have a Darkness Energy card attached to that Yveltal just yet, but with that Shaman EX, chances are he's probably going to draw onto at least one Darkness Energy card. I mean, I think there's a pretty high likelihood of that happening. So let's see if we're going to see that Darkness Energy card getting latched on to that Yveltal. Or, okay, it looks like instead it's going to be a Double Colors Energy getting latched onto that Tyranitar EX. Very unfortunate. But I'm going to have to go and make use of a Sycamore. So before I do that, I'm actually going to go and use the Turbo Blaze to attach a Fire Energy card on to that Reshiram. Let's go and make use of that Sycamore. Still no Double Dragon Energies. My goodness, what is going on here, guys? I guess I'm going to go and bring out a Fire Energy card, attach it to that Miltank. Again, we're not getting any of our Salamences, which is just a key part to our strategy. I guess I'm gonna bring down one more Miltank. Definitely we'll be saving at least one slot for one of our Salamances. I could start hitting that Yveltal for a little bit of damage. You know what? Let's actually go and hit it for 30 damage. I know it's not an impressive amount, but it's still better than nothing. So let's go use Powerful Friends, 30 damage, and that is unfortunately gonna have to be it. So we have gotten rid of our own Sacred Ash because we had to make use of that Sycamore, which again is really unfortunate because now we can't recycle these two Salamances. So that means that at the very most, we can only bring out a total of 2 more Salamances, and looks like each of our Pokemon are slowly getting targeted from that Crobat. We are going to see that end one more time. That Mega Tyranitar EX still lacking one energy card, and at the very least, our opponent would have to attach a Darkness energy card onto his Yveltal if he wants to successfully retreat it, unless, of course, we do see some sort of switch or escape rope card being used. So let's see what our opponent decides to do. We finally have just drawn onto that Double Dragon energy, so now I can actually attack with that Reshiram if I really wanted to, but potentially maybe loading up that Bagon would be a pretty wise option as well. So I'm not sure, guys. We'll see how things go from here on out. Again, that Yveltal is finally loaded up, and it can actually start attacking us. So that Mega Tyranitar EX, at the very least, we're safe from harm for at least one attack. So that is kind of nice. But again, things are not looking so great for us. Hopefully, with respects to the prize card exchange, things go a lot more favorably for us. I mean, our Pokemon should be able to knock out that Mega Tyranitar EX without too much difficulty. Yeah, so all we need is at least one attack from that Salamence, and hopefully one attack from that Reshiram, and we should be able to successfully take care of that Mega Tyranitar. So I'm probably gonna hold off on the VS Seeker for now, guys, because of course I have the Shelgon in my hand as well, and those Double Dragon and the Double Colorless energies. So I definitely do want to be careful from here on out. So let us go and bring out the Bacon. I'm gonna go and attach the Double Dragon energy on to him, and we do have the Professor Birch's observation. I can actually make use of that. You know what? Yeah, let's actually go and take a bit of a risk. I'm really hoping for a heads. Are we going to get it? And of course we're not. Okay, so I have another Muscle Band. Yeah, maybe I should have held on to my last hand. Let's go and use Powerful Friends. 30 damage. Yveltal still alive and kicking it. 70 HP remaining. At the very least, okay, so we're seeing a lot of ends. That's actually been pretty helpful for us for the most part. And alright, so hopefully we should be able to bring out a Salamence during our next turn, and then really start ramping up on the damage. So of course that Miltank is unfortunately going to lose its life. Of course, if our opponent does decide to retreat that Yveltal, maybe he's going to want to start loading up that Darkrai EX as well. I mean, that Darkrai EX could see a bit of action if our opponent effectively spreads out the damage. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be seeing a Shaman EX for some reason instead of the Mega Tyranitar EX. I mean, that Mega Tyranitar EX would have, of course, been able to absolutely ravage that Miltank, but doesn't look like that's what the opponent had in mind. So, Double Dragon Energy, I'm probably going to go for the Sycamore, so you know what, let's go and attach one more Double Dragon Energy on to that Bagon, and attach the Muscle Band onto him as well. I'm going to go and make use of that Ultra Ball, get rid of 2 cards from our hand to look for a Shelgon. How many more Salamences do we have? Yeah, so it looks like we actually have one of our Salamences prized, so things are not looking all that great for us. I'm going to go and make use of that VS Seeker. Yes, I think Professor Sycamore, I mean, we do have a Double Dragon Energy, and we're not running a whole lot of energy cards in our hand, but you know what, I think I'm going to go for the Sycamore regardless. So, yeah, let us go and grab onto that Sycamore, use it, grab ourselves a brand new hand, and, okay, I could definitely bring out the Salamence if I wanted to, and that would allow us to knock out that Crobat. Salamence actually has no damage counters on it at all, so that Mega Tyranitar EX would not be able to knock us out. So yes, I think looking for that Salamence is perhaps the right thing to do. So I'm going to go and get rid of that Ace Trainer. Switch. I don't think we're really going to need it a whole lot, so let's actually go and get rid of that from our hand as well to look for the Salamence and finally start pumping out a little bit of damage. So I'm going to go and bring it out. Actually, no, I needed that switch to... I forgot, our Miltank is not a Dragon type Pokemon. Oh, well, it's okay. Let's go and use Powerful Friends, 100 damage, and yeah, that is going to have to be it for now. If our opponent is smart, he may just use that Crobat to target that Salamence, because again, it's definitely well outside the one-hit knockout range of that Mega Tyranitar EX. Even with a Muscle Band, that Mega Tyranitar EX would only be able to hit that Salamence for 130 damage, which again is definitely lacking with respects to firepower. So we're finally going to make it, we're finally going to see that Mega Tyranitar EX make an appearance, and we should be able to hit it for well over half of its HP during our next turn. So things are slowly picking along, and we're going to see that Lysander looks like it's going to be that Reshiram that's going to be our opponent's target. But that's okay. Getting hit for 290 damage again. That Mega Tyranitar EX, very very fearsome Pokemon when there are a lot of energy cards attached to it. So I'm going to go and temporarily bring out the Reshiram. I can absolutely retreat it. We do have the Hydreigon EX on our bench, and awesome, looks like we have a teammates card. I'm going to go and make use of that. Look for a Bagon, and hope that I can eventually draw onto the Shelgon, into the other Salamence as well. I'm going to go and look for the Lysander. And yeah, so that is going to be the two cards that I'm going to go and temporarily bring out. Let's go and lay down that Bagon onto that bench, attach the Double Dragon Energy onto it. Wait, can I actually make use of Turbo Blaze? I don't think so. I think it has to be Fire Energy, yeah. So let's go and actually attach that, retreat that Reshiram, bring out the Salamence, make use of the Dragon Pulse, which unfortunately, I feel like there's a mistake here, guys. I do want to point that out. So Dragon Pulse hitting for 130 damage, 150 damage, what? Yeah, so there has to be some sort of mistake. Here it says 130 damage, discard the top card of our deck, and when I just attacked, you guys saw that we hit that Mega Tyranitar EX for 150, well, actually, sorry, this have the Muscle Band, but, we only discarded the top card of our deck, whereas when I tried to use that last attack, it said discard the top two cards of our deck. So there definitely has to be a bit of a little mistake there. But we should be able to knock out the opponent's Mega Tyranitar EX, and hopefully that will allow us to snatch up some prize cards. We're probably going to see that Shaman EX make an appearance. The opponent can easily retreat it due to that Darkrai EX's Dark Cloak ability, allowing each of our opponent's Pokemon that have any Darkness energy cards to have no retreat cost. So I'm probably going to retreat that Salamence as well. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what Pokemon our opponent's going to bring out. Looks like it is going to be that Yveltal. That Miltank can absolutely knock it out. Of course, I can actually just Lysander out that Mega Tyranitar EX instead. So you know what, let's actually go and do that. I mean, our Salamence is definitely well outside the one-hit knockout range of any of our opponent's Pokemon, with the exception, of course, of the Mega Tyranitar EX. But once we get rid of it, that is the largest threat eliminated. Let's go and use Dragon Pulse one more time, getting dangerously close to decking out, so I'm going to have to hold on to these Professor Birch's observations as though I was holding on to dear life itself. So I'll probably Lysander out the Shaman EX as well. I mean, a lot of our opponent's Pokemon don't have a whole lot of HP at this point, and it's unfortunate, but I wasn't able to draw on to the Salamence, and we also sent one of our Shelgons into that discard pile. So there are two Shelgons in that discard pile right now. Still have one more in our deck, but if we attack, we could send it into that discard pile ourselves. So looks like our opponent is slowly loading up that Darkrai EX. Again, I could Lysander it out, but it's the only stage 2 Pokemon that we have, so I have to play careful. I have to play quite carefully from here on out. So I'm actually going to go and retreat that Salamence to bring out this Miltank that has full HP. At the very least, our opponent's Darkrai EX won't be able to perform a one-hit knockout on it. Let's go and attach the Double Colorless Energy onto it, Lysander out that Darkrai EX, and then use Powerful Friends for 80 damage. But at the very least, it will be able to survive an attack, and I should be able to retreat it to bring out this Miltank, which has 40 HP and is able to hit for 100 damage due to the fact that it does have the Muscle Band attachment. So looks like our opponent's going to retreat and bring out that Yveltal again. That Yveltal is just begging to get knocked out, and I think we should satisfy his wishes. So I think we're probably going to get rid of the opponent's Yveltal during our next turn. Have we already gotten rid of all of our VS Seekers? So that is two. Yeah, that is all 3 VS Seekers. It's unfortunate we can't make use of the Lysander anymore, but at the very least, our opponent's going to be very, very reluctant with respect to bringing out that Darkrai EX from here on out. Again, I would love to draw into that final Salamence. We really, really need it for our Bagon to hit for lots and lots of damage. And looks like we're only going to get hit for 30 damage, and our opponent is slowly going to load up their bench as well. So it looks like it is going to be that Yveltal getting an additional energy card attached to it. So let's go and make use of the Powerful Friends. Well, yeah. So we're just going to go and attack with this one. Powerful Friends, 80 damage, one more prize card for us. Still no Salamence. Out of these 3 prize cards, one of them is the Salamence, and I have a feeling that it's probably this one. Well, it's probably the one that I won't be able to draw into until I've actually won the game. I think that is probably the most likely scenario. So that is probably actually going to be it. So that Darkrai EX is now currently able to knock out that Miltank, but our Miltank is also able to knock it out as well. Hopefully we don't see a Lysander. I mean, that could really spell a lot of trouble for us. We're going to see a Golbat make its appearance. Our opponent would definitely be smart if he were to get rid of that Salamence, because I mean, we have 2 more in our discard pile, and of course, we have 2 Salamances in that discard pile, and of course we have absolutely, we have 1 prized as well, so that could really spell a lot of trouble for us. So let's see, our opponent's actually getting dangerously close to decking out as well. That would be an interesting way for us to go on and win the game. So let's see, has he made use of any Lysanders? Yes, so that is actually 2 Lysanders and 2 VS Seekers in that discard pile. So maybe our opponent has already made use of his Lysanders and the VS Seekers, which would absolutely be fantastic. And looks like it is going to be that second Miltank our opponent's going to target. I guess, oh, did it have only 30 HP? I swear it had 40 HP. What is going on here? I was pretty sure it had 40 HP. Oh, sorry, that Golbat made its appearance. Right, okay, that makes sense. Alright, so I guess I'm gonna go and temporarily bring out this Reshiram as our active Pokemon. And this Darkrai EX, I definitely have to get rid of it, but if I attack it, that Yveltal is probably gonna knock out that Salamence as well, which is unfortunate, but there's not a whole lot I can actually do about it. So let's go and bring out this Salamence. I guess I'm gonna go and bring out a Bagon as well, and attach a Fire energy card onto it. Let's go and oh, Dragon Pulse would actually force me to lose the game. Right. So let's actually go and undo. How much can we undo? Yes. So okay. So let's hope for a Tails for once. Come on, are we gonna get it? Yes, we will. Awesome. So we're not gonna lose the game just yet. Dragon Pulse, 150 damage, and yeah. So we're just seeing one prize card. And no, oh my God, we're not gonna draw onto that second Salamence, guys. At the very least, our Hydreigon EX is able to attack. But, oh my God, I knew it. I knew it was going to be that last prize card. Did I not call it, guys? So we have 2 Salamances in that discard pile. And we're just dangerously close to losing the game. Okay, our opponent is going to Sycamore. So that is actually going to be game regardless of whether or not he does knock out our Pokemon. Okay, looks like he was actually an energy card short from being able to knock out that Salamence anyways. So yeah, that is going to be it. I'm going to go and say GG to our opponent. Man, that was just a ridiculous final game. I mean, just some really close calls in there, and that is going to be it, guys. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and look, as you guys can see, I just drew onto that final Salamence, and that is going to be it. So again, thank you guys very much for watching. Please be sure to check out those annotations for my previous video and a random video as well. Also be sure to check out my Twitter account in case you would like to participate in some giveaways and potentially win some cool Pokemon TCG Online goodies. And again, that is going to be it. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.